Why do I do these things to myself? This was finished. I had made myself a nice little camisole. It's summer. That's what you do. You'd think that'd be a good idea. The way I did the attaching the straps, basically knit part way, and where's my join? Happily, you can only see where the join is because of where the ends have not been woven in, because I wanted to check the length, but I was very happy with how my Kitchener turned out. And then I changed the length by 7 rows. Just 7. All of this work for 7 rows, which is, shouldn't be a big deal, but it got so hot so fast that trying to Kitchener, everything was sticking to everything. It was such a mess. So this has been sitting in my project bag for like ever. Can't wear it because, got a Kitchener. Idiot move. I mean, I'll be glad I did it at the end of the day because it was just that long enough that I didn't like where it was sitting. And this is, for me, the most important. Where it hits is this matters the most on my particular body. So it's worth going back for 7 rows, but I'm kicking myself for it. That was a bit of a mistake. Other than that, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's a really simple tank top. In fact, I wrote up a quick recipe, and I'm going to throw that onto Ravelry because there's a dearth of basic camisole patterns that aren't like $9. And I mean, I get that a designer should get paid for their work. This is not even in question. I pay for patterns all the time, and I'm happy to do so. But $9 for 4 triangles and some in the round? I'm not convinced. So I figured I'd throw my recipe up on there, so if anybody wants it, you can, it's a recipe. Because really all you're doing is you're making some triangles. I did I-cord edging all the way around on this one, so the straps are I-cord each side of the cup. There's 2 stitches here and 2 stitches here that are I-cord. I might throw in some pictures because you can see it better on the reverse side. It actually looks very cool. I was going to wear this tank top inside out if I wanted to because it does look kind of cool that way. Except when I was doing, I decided to continue the I-cord. Let's see if I can get this. Continue the I-cord between the cups. So when I was attaching the cups, I used the last 3 stitches from the cup to start an I-cord cast on, which I then continued it around, and then at the very front, when I ended that and kept going in the round, I flipped those stitches on hold, the 2 I-cord stitches from either end, and then I grafted them together. And that's not the side I did it on, it must be this side. Which worked beautifully. I'm happy that's the front, or that's the back, or one of the things. Oh, maybe I already fixed it. I might have already fixed it. Look at me go. Oh. Is that? Yeah, I guess it must. I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, there it is. It's hiding. You're never going to be able to see this. But if I wear it inside out, there will be one place where when I started to weave in my end where I Kitchenered the 2 together, I went somewhere weird and didn't notice. And so there's like 1 stitch that's out of place, which if anybody's paying that much attention to my underarm, I think I've got bigger problems than them noticing my mistake. So I will probably still wear this inside out if I feel the desire to. But yeah, continue the I-cord all the way around. It's very hard to wrangle when it's on. The needle, continued it around. It is symmetrical back to front. It's very simple, starting with a few stitches, increasing every other row on the right side of the row after the 2 slip stitch for the I-cord, which continues to the underarm cast on, and then I just knit in the round. There is obviously a lot of positive ease on this because I wanted it just one of those diaphanous kind of flowy things. So fair amount of positive ease, but I did do a little waist shaping, so it's because I did. It might not do anything, but I did it anyway. And then a rolled hem. And I didn't do anything particularly interesting on the rolled hem. I bound off with the lace bind off. I don't know if I bound off. Yeah, I bound off on the right side. Sometimes when I bind off, I reverse directions so I can bind off knitwise, but it is purlwise on the other side. Didn't do that this time. I just bound off knitwise because it was going to be rolled into the hem anyway, which, if this were not so wrinkled, I feel it just gives a nice casual vibe, where everything is just kind of rounded. And then there's some knitting in the middle. So, am really happy about this. Am excited to one day eventually wear this. Maybe if I'm lucky. So that's the tank top I've been staring at for a while. And I've been working on some socks, but they're boring, so I'm not going to show you. And I cast on the people sweater. And I'm so in love with this thing, I can't even tell you. Yee. Oh, I'm so happy. This is like the puffiest thing ever. This is dead of winter, warm. I don't need a jacket. I'm so in love. I'm so in love. I'm a happy, happy, happy girl. You wouldn't know it, but I had to drop down and fix 2 of the cables. Can you tell which ones I did? I can't tell which ones I did, so I know you can't tell which ones I did. But I did twice. I don't even know. Maybe it's summer brain, maybe it's heat brain, maybe it's menopause brain. But I twice on, I think, 2 different, although I really can't tell, of the just basic twist cables, I went the wrong way and didn't notice for 2 repeats. Not just 1, but 2. Both times. But this yarn is so forgiving. Oh, please don't tell me I did it again. No, I didn't. Okay. I thought I had done it again, but no, I didn't. This yarn is so forgiving that what you really, honestly, if I examine all of these cables closely, I have absolutely no idea on which one. Oh no, I did it again! I did it again! You've got to be kidding me! How am I doing that and not noticing? And the thing is, you'd think I'd mess up on the complex cables, but I guess that's where I'm paying more attention, and so I don't. And so, yeah. And I've been checking and everything too, considering I'd already fixed 2. I've been like, did I get this one right? Yes, that's fine. No, it's not fine. I've done it again. So I will have dropped down in the first... I haven't even split for the sleeves yet, obviously. And this is be the 3rd one I've fixed. So that is what it is. I don't know. It is what it is. There's very little I can do about that, except be a little sad. But, so, I mean, it just goes to show you, doesn't it? You can have what I think is going to be a stunningly beautiful sweater, even if you mess up rather a lot. There is a thing about the pattern, though. And if you're one of those people who recharts, I actually contemplated recharting because, and I don't know if this is a Japan thing. I thought I'd done a Japanese designer's pattern before. I assumed I'd done what is her name? Yunko something, because I love her work. and and then I realized I haven't. I've just looked at them a lot. So I have no idea if this is a Japanese thing or just this particular designer thing, but I am used to, in a chart, blank being knit. That if there's nothing in the thing, you knit that stitch. On this chart, blank is purl, and a slash is knit. And I started the sweater a couple of times because I just kept looking at the chart, and if it was blank, I knit. And it was definitely me being an idiot. Because there's a thing, and I knew as soon as I saw the chart and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, that's going to cause me problems. And it did. It really did. But you move on. You keep going. You figure it out. I did figure it out, obviously. There's a couple of places where I had to drop down a stitch because the row below I had messed up, but that's not a big deal. That's 2 seconds with a crochet hook, or actually 2 seconds with the needles that are in your hands. So yeah, I highly recommend the pattern if you are able or willing. In fact, in a weird way, it could be a perfect pattern for someone learning to cable because you won't have that stuck in your brain quite yet. I don't know. But otherwise, very clearly charted. Everything is, it looks really complicated, right? I mean, it is to a certain extent because you're not doing the same thing over and over. In fact, when you're doing the same thing over and over is when I mess up, like right there. Or I actually have stopped right now because mistake number 2, or 4, depending on how you're counting, I missed an increase somewhere. No, I didn't. No, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And I can't figure out where, so I have to stop and go back and figure out what row I missed the increase on, drop back, and see if I can sneak one in there. I'm actually contemplating, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not. If you've done this, let me know. I'm actually contemplating, because this stuff is so rustic. I mean, it's not rustic, it's really soft, but it's toothy. So I'm not really concerned about things going awry. I'm actually contemplating dropping down, using a little bit of extra yarn to knit up, because there's not going to be enough. It would pull everything in weirdly. But if I kind of cheat, sort of get one in and then weave it in on both sides as though it were a stitch, and then do another one as though it were a stitch, sort of an afterthought increase. It seems to me like that it's going to work. I've never done it before. Have you done that before? If you have, let me know. Let us all know if that's a thing that works. Especially because in this, it's a very, very clearly textured. In fact, I know exactly now where I've messed up. Because I'm looking at the thing and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas the one next to it only has 3. Oh god, did I miss 2? Anyway, I've got some counting to do to fix that. I think it's fixable, or I'll just, you probably will never notice. As long as I increase in pattern, I'll just throw one in on the previous round where there was not, because you're only increasing 3 out of 4. So if I've missed one somewhere, adding one there is probably not going to do anything that weird. And again, it is the most forgiving yarn I've ever used, which I'm so in love with this yarn. I want, like, all the garments in this yarn, which would be a bad idea, but I want it anyway. So, we got the people, we got the camisole, we got a pair of socks you're never going to see. Well, you'll see them when they're done. They're for a friend. And they're fun. They're turquoise and orange, which is always ridiculous. For anybody who has watched this far into it, I'm going to return to the camisole for a second because I am throwing this pattern up on Ravelry. Hopefully this week. I probably should wait to release at the same time, but no, that's not going to happen. And it's going to be €1. Just €1, which is hopefully not a lot, hopefully accessible, more like a, yes, I appreciate that you've done this work for me, because it did take quite a long time, even though it's just a recipe. Anyway, because it's just a recipe, it's €1, but if you've watched this far into the video, I am going to give you a discount code so you can get it for free, because I appreciate that you like my content enough to keep watching. I want to say thanks. I'll put the code on the screen because I can't think of one. I had one and now I've forgotten what it was. Mistake number 4. It's the heat. It's the heat. It's got to be the heat. It's not that I'm losing my mind or anything. It's just that it's really bloody hot. It's not today though. So you'd think I'd be a little better, but no. Right. So, for the free pattern, there'll be a thing. Hopefully I'll even do it where I'm putting my arms, and it'll be in the description box below. And thanks so much for watching and spending a little time with my knitting, and I hope you're having a good summer. See you later.